Welcome, everyone. Such a pleasure to have you here. My name is Michelle Thatcher. I'm the CEO of the U.S. Green Chamber of Commerce. And I wanted, as we start to have different attendees come in, I just want to provide an overview of the Chambers for Sustainability Coalition that's on our website. So it's at the U.S. Green Chamber. It's under the chapters and it's Chambers for Sustainability Coalition. And if you come in here, feel free to look at this video because it provides a really lovely overview of what we're doing as the coalition. We invite each of you to join us in building really the largest coalition of chambers focused on sustainability, and it's going to tie in with the Global Green Chamber that Glenn will talk about. And really easy to join. And there's another video on just this type of webinar series that we're doing here, because what we love to do is to help promote what it is that you're doing within your chamber, really celebrating the successes, because that's how other chambers are going to realize the value of moving towards sustainability. And here's just a few in North America, a few of our coalition members. We have the San Francisco Chamber and Metro Atlanta. So we have some big ones. We have some smaller ones within here. We have a couple of green chambers that we're working with, some small chambers. And then just going up, we also have Europe and we also have South America. So we just encourage you to come over here and check out the website and, send Jesse an email and join the chamber. But I want to introduce Dr. Hallam, who has been working with us for months now in creating this vision for building a global green chamber. And he is the co-founder of online webinar series called Greenwave that has been so impactful and influential in what we're doing at the U.S. Green Chamber, and has had a huge impact with other organizations around the world, including chambers. So Dr. Hallam.
Thanks, Michelle. I'll say just a couple things about Greenwave. Our mission with Greenwave is really the same as what I think a lot of people have here, and that is to accelerate and scale sustainability in business. And one of the things that really has interested me in this organization that I think is your capacity to reach people across the world, and in particular be reaching small and mid-sized businesses. There really is no other way to do it internationally. Greenwave is a quarterly conference that we run. Some of you came last week. It's really about networking and bringing together a diverse group of leaders from across the world and in different roles in sustainability, all with the purpose of helping leaders to think about how they can be aligning and mobilizing and aligning resources for the planet. That's kind of what this is about. So how do we help businesses move faster? Anyway, Michelle, thank you so much for having me here, and very much believe in what you all are doing in terms of building international involvement through the Chamber Network in helping to drive sustainability.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hallam. And I want to pass it over to Jesse, who is our Chambers for Sustainability Coalition Manager and is responsible for helping to lead the team today towards introducing our amazing guests from all over the world. Jesse?
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you so much, Glenn. I'd first like to say, if you're interested in joining this movement, please send me an email at jesse@usgreenchamber.com. The impact we can have as chambers, I think, as most people on this call realize, is huge. Chambers have so much influence over their business members, and I really truly believe that what we're doing has the potential to have a profound impact on climate change, on sustainability, and on sustainable business for many years to come. So if you're interested, shoot me an email. Before we get started with the speakers, I'd like to introduce the team. Unfortunately, some of us weren't able to make it today, but I would like to introduce our Sustainability and Legislation Research Associate, Thomas Fong. Thomas will be running the slides for the speakers today. If you're having any Zoom technical issues, also feel free to message him in the chat. With that, I will move straight to speakers. Today, we have speakers representing chambers from all over Europe and Africa. We've got Tom Node from the British Chamber for Italy, Nataliya Ponomariova from the Belgian-Luxembourg Chamber, Chidima Aguamanam from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Nina Skubala from the Bristol Chamber and the Business West family. Our first speaker today will be Tom Node. Tom?
Thank you so much, Jesse. And I'd like to thank Michelle and you, Jesse, for this invitation to speak at this event. I knew very little about the US Green Chamber of Commerce until I looked you up, having been invited, and I must say what you do is very impressive and absolutely in line with what I believe and what my chamber believes in is the future. So I am the Vice President of the British Chamber of Commerce for Italy. I was the President up until about a month ago, when my mandate ended. I am more or less have taken on the role of ensuring that sustainability is front and center in our program. And I think, as you said, it should be the focus of every Chamber of Commerce. No, I can't myself move the slides. So Thomas, could you please move on to the first slides? And I apologize that my slides are from, they look like they're made from Windows 1998, but they were done by me because our graphic artist is on vacation already. So I apologize for that. Anyway, I want to quickly say something about the Chamber of Commerce, the British Chamber of Commerce for Italy. We've been around for a long time, 115, 16, 17 years actually now. And our founding mission is right there. It's been to assist and encourage trade and investment between the UK and Italy and promote the commercial interests of our members. That's still our mission. We started basically as a kind of like a, how do you say it, sort of trades union really for British businesses in Italy to try and help them come together and negotiate difficulties they were having in Italy, a bridge to the institutions in Italy, a bridge to the governments in Italy, and help them to get on. So, well, that's our founding mission. Now, today, the next slide, how do we translate, thanks Thomas, how do we translate into today's speak? Well, we really believe in the power of business to contribute to making the world a better place. And that's what really we place our mission is now, is ensuring and encouraging our members to do the right thing, basically. We call that advocating and celebrating British business values. Now, that's a kind of slightly a slightly kind of cynical thing to do, to grab everything that's good and call it British, but that's because I'm British and I want to do that. So we've called British business values doing the right thing. But if you think about in your head the kind of British values, the sort of the principles that respect for the rule of law, respect for each other, respect for the environment, and shaking hands and a deal is done, that kind of thing, then that's really what we like to embrace. And the UK is a thought leader in a lot of these things. If you think about its track record in human rights, in implementing many of the UN's initiatives in human rights first before many other nations, in leading the way on things like diversity and inclusion, and indeed on sustainability. Britain is, I'm very proud to say, quite advanced on that, and we like to promote that in Italy as a Chamber of Commerce. Next slide, please, Thomas. Thank you. So we have four kind of areas that we really focus on. We call the four pillars. Obviously, we've had Brexit. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's something we've had to focus on because the UK has left the European Union and Italy is obviously still part of the European Union. The three other pillars that we really focus on are innovation, really driving and pushing the cause of innovation of those of our members who are innovative and trying to promote and encourage and showcase what they do, whether that be a UK business or an Italian business. We believe innovation is the key to actually making sure that we can become more sustainable. Diversity is another key pillar of our mission. We believe that diverse and inclusive workplaces are more productive workplaces, more interesting workplaces, and better businesses. Having more diverse opinions, ideas around the table, produce better products, produce better kind of results for the customers in the end. And the bottom line, studies have shown that you make more money. And that ties in with sustainability. How? Well, because Really, we're focused on the UN Sustainable Development Goals that were laid down in 2015, the 17 of them. And of course, diversity is one of those. It's the fifth, I think, gender parity of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So we're really focused on that. But sustainability in and of itself, ensuring that we can give a planet to our children, our grandchildren, which is not going to be heading towards the abyss, is the key challenge of this, of our generation. My generation, certainly I'm 42, and it's up to me and the rest of us really to ensure that we leave our children something that they can continue to inhabit. Next slide, please, Thomas. And the next one. So talking about sustainability, well, why do we focus on sustainability? It's obvious, I hope. I've just said the survival of the planet cannot be left in the hands of the politicians. That is the key thing. For 40 years, we've had politicians saying, well, worry, we'll deal with it. You know, we've got it under control. We'll make sure. No, businesses are really where it's at. And if you look at trust indicators around the world, you'll see that businesses are now more trusted, more respected in politics, the news media, any other institution. People themselves believe in the businesses around them, the ones they work in, the ones which they consume, the products they consume. They really instinctively trust businesses more than anything. So businesses, CEOs have a really responsibility to bring forward sustainability in the world and to try and promote it. And that message will be much more powerful than if it is given in the news media or by politicians, of whom many ago. A key thing, this 26th conference, which is co-hosted between the UK and Italy this year. It will be in Glasgow in November, and the pre-COP will be in September in Milan. So obviously between the UK and Italy, it's a very, very important year, and one where we are especially focused on promoting sustainability among our members. Next slide, please, Thomas. So what do we do as a chamber? Well, we organize working groups among our members. We get them together, we bring them in, and we talk. We have regular meetings once a month amongst chief sustainability officers and CEOs themselves to talk about what they're doing in their sustainable missions, how they are encouraging that in others also in their supply chains, because we're talking about some really, really big players. We're talking about, you know, huge airlines, huge logistics companies, big banks, big insurance, big car manufacturers. All of them have a responsibility, and we like to try and encourage them also to look through their supply chains, through their customers, and also through their suppliers, to try and encourage in them also a sustainable approach. We have a key partner with the Italian Alliance for Sustainable Development, which is called ASVIS, which is a sort of non-governmental organization, and that bridges to the political side, so we can lobby on the political end. And what we really try to do is get our members to commit to pledges, because it's all very well trying to give our members theory and say, well, yeah, you know, you've got to be more sustainable, you've got to go out there and do, but actually give them the tools so that they can go away and go, I know what to do. I know how to reduce my carbon footprint. I know how to reduce the plastic. I know how to ensure that I'm being more circular, how I'm recycling more. They've got to understand these things, because if you don't give them the tools, they're not going to do it. So we try and get them signed up to pledges, and I'll show some of those pledges in a second. Next slide, please, Thomas. Those are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I'm sure all of you know that like it's the back of your hand, but I mean, just a beautiful image in my view, and something that is so powerful in communicating what we're doing. Next slide, please, Thomas. So the pledges that I mentioned earlier, well, they are really ones that are already around us. We don't invent our own one because there are already great ones out there. I'm talking about the ones that are in the Race to Zero campaign, which is the UN's mission, such as science-based targets and the SME Climate Hub. There are so many of them, which no matter what industry you're in, you can go to, you can sign up to a pledge, you can measure your progress, you can get information as to how to be more sustainable. Jesse's telling me I've got a minute left. I'm so sorry. Okay, next, too much to say. Next slide, please. What else? We have big events like a gala, which will be a green gala this year. We'll have our ambassador in Milan. We'll be giving out awards to the most sustainable businesses. It's amazing. Like, so many businesses have come in to sponsor that because they want to really show that this is important to them. That's what they want to do. Next slide, please. Events such as we call Sustainable Mind, where we bring members together like AstraZeneca, PwC, Vivienne Westwood, which is a fashion brand, Lend-Lease, which is a huge real estate developer, at the Milan Innovation District, which is a new project in Milan, the legacy of the Expo in 2015, a park which is basically about the city of the future, where we talk about the future, where we talk about what our members are doing, how they're contributing to changing the world. And it really brings a lot of positive buzz. Next slide, please. I'm almost done. I think I have one. Maybe that one hasn't come out. Okay. But this slide was supposed to be about the bridge to Glasgow. Glasgow is hosting the COP in November, and the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce is doing an amazing event where they're bringing together chambers of commerce from all over the world, inviting them to bring businesses to Glasgow to take part of a massive thing. I really encourage you to get in touch with the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce to talk to them about that, because it's huge. It's in November in Glasgow. The weather's not going to be like it is here in Como, I can tell you that, but it's a great event and fantastic. With that, I'm going to stop because I'm going to take too much of other people's time. Thank you so much, everyone. I wish you all the very best, and be good, be sustainable, and thank you to Michelle and Jesse for the invitation. Thank you, guys.
And I want to say quickly before Jesse does a quick transition that we just had on Greenwave, Dr. Hallam was talking about the CEO of the Glasgow the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce was on there and did talk about that event. So we are in touch, and I think it's a great program. So thank you for mentioning it, Tom, and brilliant.
And thank you, Tom. I'd also like to say, we do so much to encourage businesses to become sustainable, but the second step of that is recognizing and celebrating them when they do. And I think that your chamber with your Sustainable Mind event, with your awards gala, has done an absolutely fantastic job of that. I just think that's something really key to remember, because oftentimes, as we all know, sustainable practices can feel thankless in some way because in the face of so many obstacles. So really celebrating businesses that do take steps is so important. With that, we'll move on to Nataliya Ponomariova from the Belgium-Luxembourg Chamber. Nataliya?
Yes, thank you, Michelle, for having me today. And I would like to share experience about the Green Finance and ESG Center, what was created, was established in 2018 to conduct the educational program for the members of Chamber. And the main goals was to give the more educational program to the members and allow companies to understand what financial opportunities they have, because any companies who would like to be sustainable, they need the finance to be successful. And for this reason, my presentation will be more focused on the practical issues, how the sustainability helps company be the financial success. Next slide, please. Here, the example how they align the ESG benefits with income statement elements helps the CFO and CEOs of the company see the relevance of sustainability initiatives to the current financial priorities. And in this example, you will see income statement aligned ESG benefits. It's coming the revenue, sales, it's increased revenue and market shares, the cost of reduced material and waste expenses, reduced energy expenses, reduced water expenses, and increase employment productivity, and reduce it and attraction expenses. Here, the complex of the financial issue, what company have to decide when they go into the sustainability. The next slide, please. Here, the example how the companies reports about the sustainability. It's called the corporate social responsibility, and how the investors looking, what kind of the ESG factors the investors looking from the company. It's 6 main areas: relation with the government, compliance with the legislation, relation with the customers, compliance in our world, supply chain, relation with the suppliers. In our world, it's a responsible suppliers code. Relation with communities, how much added value remains on the region of a presence. It includes the philanthropy and charity, because many companies, they started thinking about sustainability just from the entrance of the philanthropy and charity. And after this, they thinking about many other issues. The fifth one is environmental impact. It's how this issue implement in the long-term sustainable business strategy. And the last one is governance, how the management risk and reporting system. Company have to report about the sustainability because it's a must have for investors right now. Next slide, please. Here it's just a brief explanation about the sustainability, refers to ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising to ability of the future generation. It's a statement everybody knows, but we're talking about the sustainable green revenue. It's how the company generate revenue while enhancing the environment. The sustainable finance refers to any form of financial services integrating ESG criteria into the business and investment discussion for the lasting benefit for both clients and society at large. The green finance, it's a broad term what can refer to financial investment that provide benefits for whole context of ESG factors. In current time, for example, with sustainability linked loans, it's most examples how the company have opportunity to attract the low interest finance from the banks, because company have two ways to get the finance for the sustainable development programs. It's banking loans, and if they go into the stock exchange to the public, it's a different kind. We are talking about sustainability linked loans. The example of these loans, it's energy, greenhouse gas emission, renewable energy, water consumption, affordable housing, sustainable sourcing, circular economy, and sustainable farming, biodiversity, global ESG assignment. Next slide, please. I know it's a little bit, yes, detailed, but yes.
I was going to say, I think the problem with the slides is they're being run through Google Slides. Thomas, if you let me share my screen, I can share the PowerPoint, and I think it will fix that problem.
Let's
see. Just this won't take long. One moment. Is this where we were?
Yeah, yeah.
Does that look better?
It's a little better.
Great.
Thank you so much. In 2020, the European Parliament, they accepted the taxonomy regulation. Taxonomy, it's the main tools for investors, for companies, for issuers. It's like sets technical screening criteria for economic activities which contribute to the 6 environmental objectives. It's climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation, sustainable and protection of water and marine sources, transition to the circular economy, pollution prevention and control, and protection and restoration of biodiversity and ecosystems. they have to do not significant farm for other fives. The taxonomy right now, European taxonomy right now, going like a example for every countries. And right now they have a Chinese taxonomy, they have a okay, many countries created their own taxonomy, but it's based European taxonomy. For this reason, next slide, please. I have to explain why it's taxonomy. It's a part of a European Sustainable Investment Plan, Green Deal. It's an industrial classification system for categorizing economic activity in sustainability criteria. Taxonomy is tool to help and report the transition to economy for its objectives. And taxonomy criteria are likely relevant to all countries around the world pursuant to the net zero emissions. Next slide, please, because finance and, okay. Why taxonomy is too important to the companies? Because it's divided the assets and risk to the main categories. Brown assets would contribute to climate change through the emission and greenhouse gases. The green assets, it's the sustainable assets. And financial market risks right now arising from advice movement in the market. We talking about financial market risk, the insurance market risk, and the insurance underwriting risk and operational risks for the companies. More detail you can find in the presentation. For the next slide, please. Here I would like to explain the key priorities for the companies from financial and non-financial sectors. The companies increasingly face both physical risk from climate change around to transition risk from net zero carbon economy. If poorly management, this risk could be a source of consumer harm and potential financial crisis stemming from financial losses and sudden adjustment for value assets. The COVID, it's just demonstrated what either the need the firms to prepare for the rapid crystallization of global risks. The key priorities is to enabling companies to develop own system, risk management system, scenario analysis system, disclosure. It means company have to report about the sustainability and innovation. The company is going to be more innovative because they have to follow the new products, the created new products, services, policies, and approaches. The next slide, please.
Nataliya, I'm going, just for the sake of time, after this slide, I'm going to have to cut you off if that's okay.
Okay, now here is most important slide because the companies, for example, the sustainability linked loans and securities growing around the world. The domestic public financing, for example, in USA, it's growing rapidly for 52 millions. For the company, for example, HCBS Bank in the United States, they announced the launch of sustainability linked loans for commercial banking clients. And company right now available to get this low financial, but they need to provide financial statement and non-financial reports. It's a main reason why the company have to look to the reporting system for small and business companies. it's a big challenge to create the reports, but ESG factors for the big companies, it's like 220 factors. For the small and medium-sized businesses, just 10 or 12. But the company have to understand how to create the small report to provide it to the bank to get the low financing and establish the new product line or open new stores or get the new buildings facility, everything. Here in our kind of the sourcing, it's a private placement, but the private investors, they look in the ESG factors in the company anyway, because they have restriction from the, for example, for stock exchanges, or they have a restriction from the private companies. And PPP, it's a private placement project in the infrastructure. They call the QII. It's a quality infrastructure project. They have a same restriction for ESG factors. I just would like to explain this. Thank you so much. And the next slide, just brief about the, could you please, yes, move into the next slide. Here, the more detail about the investor advisory community for the Security Exchange Commission, the lead of ESG disclosure for the big companies and the small and medium-sized companies. More detail you can find on the slide. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nataliya, for all that information. If you are willing, I can share those slides with anyone who's interested.
Yes.
In the chat, because I know there's a lot more information that unfortunately we do not have time to cover. But thank you so much. I would also like to point out that I saw on your website, you are the sustainability expert within your chamber's expert center, which, similar to a lot of the work Tom has done in his chamber, is very committed to reaching those 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, which, as Tom stressed, is very important. And I would like to commend you for that. I'd also like to remind everyone that we're having a Q&A session in the last roughly 10 minutes of the webinar. So if you have any questions, please just send them to me in the chat. Up next, we've got Chidima Aguamanam from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Chidima?
Hello, Jess. Thank you for having me speak at this webinar. Okay, my name is Chidima, and thank you. A whole lot of people don't know how to pronounce my name, but you did wonderfully well. I must commend you. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, my name is Chidima Aguamanam. I'm a trade promotion executive at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, from now I'll be calling it LCCI. The short form, it's the foremost chamber of commerce and industry in Nigeria and even in West Africa. Lagos is a city in Nigeria, and what we basically do at the chamber is that the chamber was established to promote and protect the trade and industry and represent and express opinion of the business community on matters affecting trade and industry in the city of Lagos and even the country at large, because we are like a link between the business community and the government. So a whole lot of time the government put up some legislative structures, or they make out one rule or something that poses as hindrances to business community. So we come in, so that's where we get to do our advocacy programs for these businesses in Lagos, and being a member, you can benefit from that. So our chamber is also a membership-based organization. So what is our vision? Our vision is to remain the foremost chamber of commerce and industry and a role model for others in the promotion of sound business ethics and delivery of qualitative services. So our mission is to promote and protect the interests of its members and the business community at large through public policy advocacy, like I mentioned earlier, creation and facilitation of commercial and industrial opportunity, and also do provide business development and services and observance of the highest standard of business ethics. So that's why in the chamber, we have a whole lot of departments who handles different structures. So for my department, we are in trade promotion. So that's where I got my title as a trade promotion executive. We have the membership officers who handle sectorial groups. So every member of the chamber actually belong to one sector or the other as a business entity. So now we categorize them into sectors, and we have membership officers who relates with them and handles every business concerning that sector. So if there's any thing that a particular sector is going through, once we know about it, and if it's a government policy that is posing as an hindrance, that's where our chamber come into play and we deal with such issues. Then we have the training aspect in the chamber, where we give trainings to our members, trainings that can help them grow their businesses on new trends, on new technology, and all that. So I'm going to go to department now. We promote trade. So that's why we've had the Lagos International Trade Fair, which is the biggest trade fair in West Africa, I kid you not. So at this trade fair, we had over attendees from 15 different countries. China, who are biggest participants, like they are returning. For like 30 years now, we've been doing this. So they come back, even our neighboring country, Ghana, they also in participation, and other countries. Also we do get partnership with agencies in other countries who can now bring people, to also do participate at our fair, Lagos International Trade Fair. So this fair, also activities that take place in this fair grows the Nigerian economy, because lots of business dealings are being done at the trade fair, which runs for a 10-day period. So aside this trade fair, we'll also realize that there are other issues that some other sectors are battling with. So for the ICT, if you know, Nigeria is a developing country. So we thought about it. Why not have an exhibition that will bring into limelight? We are LCCR, we have a big brand. So let's use our brand to, talk about technology, the trends, new innovations and all that. So we came about with the ICT Expo, which is information communication technology, communications. So we bring the industry players together and we hear from them. What are the things? So we just concluded that yesterday, which was the 7th edition. So many things keep coming up. So we said, okay, why not have the solar fair? Because here in Nigeria, we have poor power supply, and business owners are really, really hit, as in their business are not doing well because of the poor power supply. So what can we do to, ensure that businesses are done optimally? So we thought about the Lagos Solar Energy Fair, which deals with sustainability. And like we know that sustainability, it focuses on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. So the concept of sustainability is composed in 3 pillars, where it can affect the economy, it can affect the environment, and even social as well. So we now brought together industry players, both at the government level and at the private level. Or you're into solar businesses, a lot of people here in Nigeria don't know about it. And there's this myth or this notion that solar energy is expensive. So our duty is to let people know, and that is what we have done the Lagos Solar Energy Fair, to let people know that solar is not expensive, because a whole lot of people just think about the short term, probably the money it takes or the amount it takes to do installation right now. So, and they're not taking long term. So how can you sustain your business for long term without you thinking about now, or the amount for installing solar panels, doing that, buying inverters and doing that. So they see it like it's a whole lot, and thereby they opt out for generating sets. And these generating sets, they cause, they're hazardous to human health. They emit gases, which when we inhale them, they are bad for the health. So why not go for a cleaner source of energy? And at the end of the day, you have you can have a good revenue. If you use good lights, source of energy to do your business, in the long run, you save costs, and at the end of the day, you're increasing your profit. So that is what we have actually done. So during the fair, we had conference sessions and exhibition sessions so that people have the opportunity to exhibit their solar products so that people can see. It's unfortunate that the COVID-19 could not allow us to what's it called, a physical fair. So it was done online. But with the online exhibition, a whole lot of people could say that, oh, these are the different products, solar products that we can see, they attend to different needs and all that. Then the conference session of it was to let people know. And that's why we now, one of the sessions that we talked about was strategy and policies for solar energy popularization. Like I said, a whole lot of people here in Nigeria still don't know about the solar energy as an alternative and clean form of energy. So the purpose of the solar fair, to let people know, to give that awareness to people that you can have a cleaner form of energy without polluting the environment. And when the environment is polluted, people get to fall sick, and at the end of the day, you won't have able people doing businesses and all that. So the chamber is a business-oriented community. So anything that will keep people in business, that is what we go for. So the strategy and policies for solar energy popularization was discussed, and we also talked about innovations and trends in solar energy technology. So what are the new technologies for solar?
Excuse me, sorry, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to cut you off in just a second, just to have time for our final speaker. You can finish what you were saying though.
Okay, so I'm just going to conclude that solar energy is a sustainable way to go in Nigeria now and for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chidima. I also want to just commend you and your chamber. So often in the US, we have such a hard time, not with the, sorry, decline that, not with our small town chambers, but with our very large citywide, statewide chambers. These are the ones that seem the most reluctant to adopt these sustainability measures. So to see your chamber, which I believe represents, if not the largest private sector, one of the largest private sectors in Africa, in the entire continent, to see your chamber taking such a lead is truly inspiring. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our final speaker for the day is Nina Skubala from the Bristol Chamber of Commerce. Nina.
Hi, thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon and to follow such amazing speakers. Yeah, I'm from Bristol, and Bristol, I don't know if anyone can sort of do a show of hands or anything of who knows where Bristol is, but we've got really good ties with the US, a lot of historic ties with a home of Concorde. It was built here in the city, as well as SS Great Britain, who developed the first steamship connecting the Europe to the US, and also home, Cabot sailed the ship to Matthew that discovered Newfoundland as well from Bristol. We also have some, so I'll put a link there because it's quite interesting actually to hear all about the various ties that we each have. So I'm from Bristol Chambers of Commerce. We're almost 200 years old, and we're one of the largest chambers of commerce in the UK. We are a B Corp. We work with around 20,000 businesses right across the West, and our core area is Bristol. 10 years ago, we set out a long-term vision for the city. Sorry, if we go to the next slide. Thank you. There we go. So some of the stats there about our chamber. So 10 years ago, we set out a long-term vision for the area, which we articulate in a book called 2050 High and Hope. In that, we imagined what would the city might need where the sea level is higher, that there is going to be less demand on road traffic, where people want to lead healthier, happier, and more productive lifestyles. And we put those ideas back in that book. And in that, we imagined how you might run down trams back down onto our roads when they're freed up from cars, where we might have a barrage on the river that goes out to the sea to protect the city from sea level rise, but also create a water park in the city to provide further economic development and leisure activities. So I'll put a link after my chat as well for anyone who'd like to take a look at that. So Bristol it's quite famous, or has a reputation as being very much as a green city. So if I can go to the next slide, please, Jessie. It has a reputation as being a green city. In 2015, we were awarded the title European Green Capital, and we were the first city to declare a climate emergency. We've won so many different accolades for our work in the sort of green thing. We are we are one of the only 2 cities in the UK that's been awarded the Gold Sustainable Food City. We have been awarded a cycling city. And I've just put up a few sort of pictures up there just to showcase those of you who don't know Bristol. We created a poo bus during the European Green Capital, and this kind of went viral. As you can see from pictures there. It's a city that doesn't take itself too seriously. We're also, our famous bridge that was designed by Brunel during the Green Capital year, we really use that as a showcase, lighting it at green. And also we've got pictures there of a micro-mobility trial that we're running in the city as well. It's also, as I said, very much a foodie city, and there's lots of work there. That we've got lots of urban gardens. So there's a picture there just around the harbour side showing where anyone can go and help themselves to some salad leaves. But we are a huge, we are a very important city to the UK economy. We have strengths in the aerospace sector, creative, media, finance, and professional services and logistics. And there's an illustration there that we have really big ambitions as well to have in terms of our energy as well. So we've tried to use lots of the different assets that we have around us. Can I go to the next slide, please? But we're not, if you ask some people in our city, they would say that we're a green city with a long way to go. There's a map up there that illustrates the flood risk posed to the city. Like I said, we are on the River Severn, which has one of the largest tidal ranges in the world. We're also one of the most congested cities in the UK. I think we make amongst the top 5, and we have some of the worst air pollution as well. We have real difficulties with, our housing stock. We have a mix of lots of very old properties, which are difficult to retrofit in the city. A study was undertaken a year or 2 ago saying that there was going to be a need to replace, just in the core city, almost 100,000 gas boilers would need to be replaced within the next 10 years if we are to reach our net zero targets. And at present, there are less than 1,000 properties that have air source heat pumps or any additional retrofitting of being put in place. We have some social divides as well in the city. There's a programme that we are supporting called the Black and Green Ambassadors Programme that's looking to increase diversity in the people that are working in or acting on sustainability within the city. And also that we have large pockets of deprivation. Whilst we are considered a very wealthy city, there are lots of people within the city where, you know, thinking about sustainability is a long shot away. They're thinking about where their next meal's coming from, and we have a huge housing crisis as well. So there's a bit of a backdrop in our work to doing this, and that's where things like the sustainable goals as well come in very useful as a framework for us to think about how we address sustainability in the city. Can I go to the next slide, please? So I'm just going to talk quickly through the approach that we've taken as the Chamber of Commerce. First thing is really that we need to demonstrate leadership in this space so that we can be a credible actor. So we declared a climate crisis last year, and we have become a climate neutral Chambers of Commerce, the first in the UK. We've also committed ourselves to be net zero by 2030, and we have an ISO 14001 environmental system, which we've been using for about 10 years. So we have a good handle of where our main carbon emissions arise, and we've also mapped out how we will be getting to net zero by 2030. We've also just become a B Corp, so that really embeds all of this into our constitution and makes sure that, you know, so our board and our senior management team are all on board. And we've created a trading through net zero platform on our website, and I'll put all of these links in after my talk, where we share our journey. And I don't think if anyone can see the picture of this, so the picture on the right there, that's Lee Court, that's our headquarters. It's a huge mansion house. So as you can see, it's quite a challenging building to get to net zero, but we're really confident and working with our estates team that we're going to be able to do that. Can I go to the next slide, please? The next role is that, you know, as I mentioned, we work is to encourage businesses to take action. And as the Chamber of Commerce, we can come then with a huge, you know, we have a huge amount of influence amongst the businesses that we work with. The way that we do this is is to understand where businesses are at on their climate journey. So recently, we took part in we did a climate survey, so that we understood where companies are and where we can best act. We also work with a range of credible partners like the Bristol Green Capital Partnership and Action Net Zero on various behaviour change and best practice events as well. And that's including things like peer-to-peer clusters and various campaigns. Again, I can put the links in here. And if we can just go on to the next slide as well. And then lastly, it's what we're trying to do then is also accelerate regional ambition. It's all very well to try and get businesses to get to net zero themselves, but they really do need supporting infrastructure around them. And that's where we've created a climate advisory group where I can tap into the expertise of our members. And that means that we can act like a collaborator, endorser, and a critical friend to the local authorities, and help them on various projects then to help us get to net zero. And that things that we are calling for is around better grid capacity for our electricity to allow for the transition to more electric vehicles, so that we can have more electric vehicles and we can transition to electric heating. But also we're looking at how do we maximise the economic opportunities. So COP26 and the G7 have provided really good profile, and it's a chance for us to showcase all of the various innovations and activities that are happening across the region. We've got a moonshot project looking into fusion, and there's lots of businesses that we can really get really excited about. And can I just go to the next slide?
And Nina, that's it. Okay, great.
Okay, that's it. Let's keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina. I also would like to commend you. I saw upcoming that you've got an event called the Festival for Sustainable Business, which just looks like to be a very far-reaching event, covering a lot of ground, highlighting a lot of businesses. Like I said to Tom earlier, that recognition is so important. And also just the scope of events like that, like the solar fair that Chidima talked about, like all the things that all of your chambers have done, just shows the impact that chambers can have. And that's why we built this coalition. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I just want to thank all of our speakers today for showing the example of what can be accomplished by working together, by collaborating, and through chambers of commerce and the roles they play. So I know we only have 3 minutes until 10, or for me, it is 10 a.m. For you, I think it's all different until the top of the hour. But I'd like to go into our Q&A. I'd like to say to our speakers, if you have another commitment at the hour, we will not hold you here. If you'd like to stay a little bit longer and answer a few more questions, I'll keep asking until we've gone through them all, if anyone stays to answer them. So with that, I'll just get started. This first question is for all 4 of our speakers, and it relates to encouraging businesses and kind of commitment from your business members. So just real quick, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are your chamber business members in adopting sustainable practices? And how many are currently taking action to mitigate climate change? 1 being essentially nothing, maybe even adverse towards climate action, and 10 being, they're coming to you asking if you can do more. Anyone can start. Nina?
Yeah, so we've recently did a survey into this. So we know that 70% of our members consider climate change to be a business issue. And out of those, about a third have plans and are progressing well with them. Another third have some ambition but haven't got a plan, and then the third haven't started. But certainly in the last 2 years, it's come up in every single business meeting. So there has been a big, I've certainly seen a big shift from our end.
That's amazing. That's great numbers. Michelle's right. That's fabulous to hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
just if I could say from I would say roughly the same as Nina's statistics, maybe slightly fewer are ready to actually kind of implement, but the movement is huge in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, from where we were 5 years ago to where we are now. So I envisage in the next 5 years it's going to be even more rapid.
Okay. The Lagos Solar Energy Fair this year was the first time we held that fair, and the feedback has been commendable. Now we have more people who wants to tune in into using renewable energy for their businesses. Yeah, so we have people coming to us to say, oh, how do we do it? And how do we link them up to companies who are manufacturers or who sell this solar energy? A lot of questions now have been asked. They are coming to us and all that. And there's this particular company that I had interactions with, and they have a wonderful plan for businesses. So now they can do like a bill payment for their solar energy, which is really, the cost of installing these solar panels is actually free. All you just have to do is you pay monthly, which is actually a good one. And I've been giving that information to a whole lot of people, and the feedback has been immensely great. Thank you.
I agree about Tom's statement about the huge movement for last 2-3 years. We expected more changes in the next 5 years, but companies, about 75% they agree about the climate change because the TCFD recommendation for bigger public listing companies, it's especially in United Kingdom right now, it's the regulation. The company have to report by the TCFD system, and whole in Europe, probably like 75% of a company taking into consideration the climate issue.
Fabulous. I want to just say quickly, all of you are leaders within the chamber industry. Our team has been scouring the planet to try to find chambers that are truly leading on sustainability. So you guys are it. Our other coalition members are within that very small group. within the United States, we have some great chambers that are doing some work, but it is such a tiny, tiny fraction of all of our chambers across the entire United States. And when we say there's nothing on their website showcasing that any action that they're working with their businesses on sustainability. So it feels like, I don't want to paint a picture out there that everybody, all the chambers out there are doing this. This is the goal, is to get this momentum and have each of you be that leader, because it is so inspiring. And our last Chamber for Sustainability, we were in Singapore and Hong Kong, and what they're doing is so inspiring. We have Hak Ong Koo here from Malaysia, from the ASEAN Green Chamber. I see other chamber leaders that have been on this call today from all over the world. I think we even had a couple others from Africa. And so I'm super excited to hear this, and that you have stats, Nina and Tom, both you know exactly where your business members are. So thanks for leading within that space. And sorry, Jesse, I wanted to say that because it was really exciting to hear that you know where your members are. And most chambers don't.
I agree. That is very exciting. This next question, I think Nataliya makes most sense if you answer. And the question is, do you find that businesses, particularly SMEs, are not actively thinking about green finance and sustainability investing as an option? And that the solution is just to raise awareness? Or do you find that they are looking for the option, but just don't know how, and are having a hard time finding available opportunities?
Yes, they're looking for the options, and they don't have opportunities to wherever get the knowledge about the available financing, because especially the banks, they have a big system and availability for the finance, but the companies, especially small and medium-sized companies, they don't have a special, because let me explain. In the public companies, it's a special department, ESG department or green finance department or finance department. They have a sources, and they're looking for the situation. For small and business companies, maybe the Chamber of Commerce have to be leading entity would provide the information for small and medium-sized businesses about opportunity for the finance, bank finance, and the public finance, because it's possible to be the attract the public finance in the stock exchange for the medium-sized companies too. But some reason for the small and medium-sized businesses, they have a lack of their knowledge about the opportunities.
Thank you so much. And I'll just ask one more question, and then I know we're already 5 minutes over, so I'll let everyone go about the rest of their day. But the last question is just for anyone who would like to answer. But I think one thing that I know we run into a lot in the US, we've had a lot of feedback from chambers about this, is just how do you engage your members? As you said, Nina, 70% of your companies do care about sustainability. What about that other 30? Have you found any specific either methods of communication, any language you use, any events you've hosted that has yielded really great success in the kind of capacity of getting companies to care and to believe in this transition? And that's a question for everyone.
Yeah. I think for us, it's embedding sustainability right across everything that we do as a business. And so in our members events now, sustainability, climate, net zero is coming up more and more often. So it's not you don't necessarily need to have a standalone event. For us as well, it's utilizing some of the high profile companies that you have and the inspirational companies. So we have, in our events, I've had the likes of Rolls-Royce, some of the businesses that people wouldn't necessarily think of as being leading on climate change or climate works, trying to get to some of the interesting people. We've had some of the producers from Netflix documentaries who are local to us. So I try to harness some of the the standout members that we have to help influence and make it far more normal to other businesses.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to? Tom, I see you.
I mean, I'd say exactly. I mean, we don't exclude anyone. As a Chamber of Commerce, we are as inclusive as we can be. We're not. People come to me and say, "Well, you only have British business." No, we include anyone who wants to be a member can become a member, and we don't exclude anyone. But we don't. We promote those who are doing amazing stuff on sustainability, and we don't promote those who are not doing amazing stuff on sustainability. So if you have Shell and BP and all those other members who you may think, well, these aren't the best, paragons of sustainability. No, they're not, but we include them in the conversation. And we try and encourage them by showcasing others who are doing a lot better. And also we try and rinse out greenwash. We're very, very keen on ensuring that what we're promoting is truly sustainable, is truly green, is not just chatter. It's not just box checking exercise. So that's how we do it. And we just say, you're not the cool kids if you're not sustainable. You're not cool, you're not going to win anything. And you can come to the party, but the bar isn't open to you. So that's it's a little bit this and I mean, I want to say one other thing quickly while we have time. I think businesses can take a lead, but I think you need the governments as well. You have to have government involvement, and you have to work with government, and you have to lobby government. So, I try to push alignment on three things. You need alignment on information. So everyone needs to have the same information that they can go away, take away, and actually to convert it into being sustainable. Secondly, incentivization. You need like almost a Europe-wide, global-wide incentivization network, so people can take advantage of tax breaks and what have you for becoming more sustainable. And you need regulation. You need to have give people the ability to measure on the same standards their sustainability. So you're not having apples compared with oranges. People in Peru are being measured in the same way as people in China and the UK and Italy and the United States, so that everyone can say, okay, you've done this, I've done this, and they've got the same sort of measuring standards like you would for accountancy or something like that. And so we really try and lobby the government to focus on those things so that everyone can play in the same kind of way and together and compare against each other. And I think joining the coalition is something that I'm definitely going to try and make sure my chamber does. So that's all I wanted to say, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And I'll be sending you an email about just that, not long from now. So we'd love to have you on board. We'd love to have everyone on this call on board.
I want to just say, I want to follow up with Marie's comment and say it publicly. Like there's a lot of chambers. Marie says there's a lot of chambers doing a lot of work out there. So thank you for disagreeing with me, Marie. And we do want to know who those chambers are. I mean, I am sending you an email, and because we've been on the search. And I know that we've worked with we've collaborated with the ICC. We're looking for those true stories to bring to other people so we can learn from each other. And and you've had just amazing stories. And Marie, I don't know if you can, are you able to unmute? Or is somebody able to unmute Marie?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Oh, okay. Yes, if you want to say anything just briefly, I know we have to head out, but just introduce yourself and share that vision, please, because we need to hear that.
Okay, I know timing is of essence, but thank you for putting this on. We here at the Swedish-Canadian Chamber of Commerce, we collaborate with all our European partners in European Chambers of Commerce in Canada, where maybe if you're scouring the website, you're not seeing the true picture of all the work that's been done. And then also, just to say, our chamber, we're working with all our colleagues, global colleagues, and we do a business climate survey every year that captures all of the ongoings in different parts of the world. And I agree, Tom, with you. I'd like to connect with you afterwards to dive in a little bit deeper. But just on the note of info and incentive, being the government coming out with sound incentive is essential, and the measuring, even though we're in different parts of the globe, we need to be able to measure accomplishment with the same tools. So I found this really informative, and I'm gonna see if we can connect. We are definitely wanting to be part of the family that's changing the needle towards a better future. So thank you for your efforts, and nice to see everybody.
Marie, what a perfect ending note. I want to just say thank you to Jesse too for leading this charge, and Thomas and our entire team. I know that we even have Haley on the line, one of our past team members, and other chambers from around the world that have stuck with us through this webinar, and learning so much. Really being a collaborator in the space is so key and essential. Even in the United States, we're having a conversation tomorrow with a university to do a deep dive just in the United States on where chambers are. So it's going to go beyond what we've done thus far, which has been pretty extensive, and it's been for a while. But sometimes people don't promote what they're doing always online. So I just want to thank each of you for sharing your stories. We have recorded this, and we will be putting this out to share with our other series. So if you haven't watched the other videos, please feel free to do so, because there's a lot to learn from chambers around the world that are doing good work, as Marie had pointed out. And so I think if we can get this momentum with chambers, and one thing that I always say, it's like we're the biggest business organization group in the world. We've been around since 1599. Tom, I'm glad that you pointed out, when your chamber was started in 1907. We have massive chambers that can make such an impact. And I don't see any other way that we can collectively move all, especially small to mid-sized businesses, in the right direction with sustainability if we do not incorporate our chambers. We can be those leaders, and we are those leaders. So thank each of you so much for your time today. Brilliant presentations for all of us to take back and help to promote what it is that you're doing on every level. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And have a wonderful rest of your evening. And we'll get started with our day today. But thank you, and please join us.
Enjoy your coffee.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.